For 12 long years, a young girl lived inside a small, cold prison cell. The walls were cracked, and the air was damp. The only light that ever entered the room came from a tiny window high above the wall. On the wall beside her bed were hundreds of scratch marks. Each mark represented a day she had survived in that prison. At first she counted every day carefully, but after many years the numbers stopped mattering. Every night, she stared at the small window and wondered what the outside world looked like. One quiet night, as moonlight shone through the opening, a dangerous idea entered her mind. What if that window could be her way out? Her heart began beating faster. Slowly, she dragged her rusty metal bed across the floor and placed it directly under the window. Then she picked up an old metal bucket and carefully placed it on top of the bed. The strange tower looked unstable, but it was the only chance she had. She climbed onto the bed slowly, trying not to make too much noise. Then, she stepped onto the bucket. It shook beneath her feet, but she held onto the wall to keep her balance. Slowly, she reached higher, until her fingers finally grabbed the metal bars covering the window. Cold night air touched her face, and for a moment she almost smiled. She pushed against the metal bars with all her strength. At first nothing happened, but then she heard a small creaking sound. The rusted metal moved slightly. Her eyes widened with excitement. The bars were weak. If she pushed hard enough, she might actually escape. She pushed again, bending the metal a little more. Freedom felt closer than ever before. But suddenly, the bucket slipped beneath her feet. The bed frame shifted, and everything collapsed at once. She fell hard onto the stone floor with a loud crash. Pain shot through her arm as the sound echoed through the prison corridor. Moments later, heavy footsteps rushed toward her cell, and a guard shouted angrily outside the door. The girl quickly curled up on the floor and pretended to sleep until the guard finally walked away. When the corridor became quiet again, she slowly sat up and looked back at the window. Her first escape attempt had failed, but when she looked closely, she noticed something important. The metal bars were no longer straight. They were slightly bent from where she had pushed them. A small smile appeared on her face, despite the pain. She had failed tonight, but now she knew something the prison did not. Escape was possible.